All right, I'm here with Naomi Love.
Aloha.
Aloha. It's a full moon today.
It is a full moon today. We are so blessed to be able to do this today.
I know. A
I
month
love
in
it.
advance. Who would have thought I was capable of such planning?
Look at you organizing. I know. I know. And spontaneity worked. That's not always the case.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Divine providence, as much of that as we can take. Let's get it.
It's so true.
You and I have not spoken about this, so let me give you just 2 seconds, and then
Yes,
I want
please.
you to introduce yourself. This project, this purpose project that we're a part of, this class called Give It Away, is really about unifying people in the purpose. We talk about we're all one. We all want to be one. And so if we can all agree and then step into each of our purposes being love, then our gifts can emerge, and then we can go on a mission.
I love that.
And what I'm saying is with the power of community and really being aware of the natural cycles of Earth, specifically the moon cycle as we're talking about today, then we can really gather our intent and our energy and our influence and our community together to help us propel into an awakening.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Woo! Yeah.
So first, just let people know who you are and what your purpose, gift, and mission are. And
Okay. I'll do my best. My name is Naomi Love. I am in Hawaii right now, and I offer healing through self-inquiry. And so a lot of the work that I do is sort of the mystery. It's exploring that of which happens behind closed eyes. And it's looking at a lot of times the shadows of, there's a part of us that often believe that we are aligned with love, and then the choices we make don't actually, or the actions we take don't actually align with that. So a lot of the work I do is really looking at where that motivation is coming from inside, where we're making those choices from. And if those choices aren't aligning with what we think we would like to be aligned to, and actually going in, whether it's through shamanism or through self-inquiry or some sort of guidance, to go in and heal those parts that are making those choices that aren't in alignment with our highest, truest purpose and value on this planet. I work a lot with women and sacred sexuality and tantra, and I do a lot of womb work and plant healing and flower essences and nutritional therapy and all sorts of yummy things. It's kind of the culmination of what I've been studying for 25 years and then my embodiment of that. And so I'm working through apprenticeship programs right now where I am working at this moment with just women and helping support them in honing their gifts, understanding their gifts, and then how to share those gifts with the world, and then how to be in sisterhood, how to be in a collective. Because in women's circles, there is so much competition, and there is a lot of that hierarchy, and even in trainings that we've all taken, there's often this way that we can either learn through fear and being told that we're not enough, which then could drive us forward, or we can be learning through love, where somebody is there holding space for us, telling us that we're enough, witnessing us, loving us, and showing up for us in that way. So I'm sort of changing that old paradigm of the old way of working of like, you're not enough and you should be better, and look at all these ways that you suck. I even saw a movie about it called Whiplash, and I was like, oh my God, this is the complete opposite of how I'm working in the world. But there's something where I feel like we've all been beaten down enough. We've all been told at some point that we weren't enough or that we could be better. And it's not that that's not true. There's all parts of us that could be better. But there's this place that I want to come from of really letting people know that they are enough as they are, no matter how they're showing up, rather than shaming all of those parts. And then we hide from them and we want to pretend like they don't exist. Yeah. And where that ends up, where we end up hiding all of that stuff is what seeps out into our life. And that's often where we end up manifesting from. So I feel like if we can actually start to own all those parts of ourselves, then we're not running or hiding from it. Then we can actually be in that right relationship.
Yeah, I've really been in the study many years now about really personal growth and personal mission work as subtraction rather than addition. You know, part of what you're talking about is building belief structures on top of things in order to manifest things, in order to be certain ways, act certain ways, in order to run a company, for instance, do your job well.
Yes.
And ultimately, if you haven't done some subtraction work underneath, whatever you build on that layer isn't going to work anyway. And my feeling is, Naomi, 2017, that a lot of people feel fractured right now. They feel the pressure of not following their dreams. They feel the pressure of this complete make wrong, you know, over and over and over. I'm not doing it right, you know. And
well, and then we look at who's going to be president, and how that has. And I bring it up only because if we look at that, that's actually a perfect example of how it's reflecting back to us the shadow of America.
Yeah.
It's showing us all the places that we've pretended we've tried to put positive band-aids over shit shows of racism and all, you know, women's rights and all of these things. And now actually I think it's so beautiful, even though, you know, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but even though this is what's showing itself, it's actually like, if we don't actually get to see all the shit that's there, then we're not able to be in that true alignment. And so maybe we need to see all of that so that we can start to be in alignment with our dreams. In a way, it feels like a wake-up call as a collective. And then within that, each of us has our own awakening that needs to happen within that, almost a reflection.
Yeah. So what does it feel like? What does it feel like, really feel like, to be at your stage in life where you're at? You've put a lot of work in, you said, and you're really on a mission. You're really in your gift.
I really am.
Other people do that. What does that feel like, Naomi?
Sometimes it's very scary. I'm not going to lie. I like to be very honest. Sometimes I notice I really suffer from easily discouraged, where when I start to do my work and then it's not going anywhere, or I'm not seeing it land with people, like they're sort of missing it because we're not all in our hearts, and we're not always, you know, I use the example of oftentimes I can only speak as women, we typically like the guy who doesn't give us love. we like the one that's like a little bit of an asshole. And so then we have to like try really hard to like get them to love us. And so it's almost like when you're showing up in love, people can really take it for granted and sort of bypass it, because we're so accustomed culturally as a collective to find more people who don't love us so that we can try to get love and try to be seen, where when somebody's sitting there seeing us, we could kind of care less, or because we don't realize it. So I'd say right now, just to be honest, there is this pull and push for me of, wow, I'm showing up in love and I'm sitting here in my authenticity and I'm being real and I'm being honest, and it's not always received because people do collectively, we're accustomed to this other way. We're accustomed to trying to get people to love us who don't.
Right.
You know, it's sort of like our parents. You know, if we had good parents, you know, we take advantage or take for granted our mothers, who are maybe, some of them, showing up in that unconditional love, or sort of like whatever, you know, and then we go and try to find the people who don't really love us to get them to love us. It's like this really funny thing. So there's that aspect of it where I'm noticing this this pull inside of myself of observation of that experience. And then there's the other aspect inside of me that's, there is no choice for me in the way that I can't not do my purpose. I absolutely have to hold space in this way, and I absolutely have to offer my work and be in that vulnerability and show up in love. There's just that I couldn't do anything else. It's you know, I know we always have choice, but it's like, this is why I'm here. There's an absolute driven purpose here. And in that, I'm so thankful, because so many of us don't have that sense of purpose. And I'm thankful to have that drive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have this feeling that we have to awaken to that purpose. I mean, sometimes we have a crack, like an election or a death in the family or a job
Yes.
change or bankruptcy or
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
Ultimately, it is us that has to say yes to the awakening, to the
You
purpose.
have to say yes.
You know, step into this thing, because what you're saying is you have a reason to get out of bed every single
Yep.
day, and
Yep.
despite the challenges of it, you're grateful and you're excited and you're moving,
Yes.
you know, bold,
Yes.
yeah, courageously forward. Yeah.
Yes. It's so true. And I call those, in shamanism, we would call those are the initiations, those moments where, you know, you have the chaos in life and you're at a precipice where you can decide, do you want to awaken or not?
Yeah.
You know, and there's part of me that sees that it doesn't matter if you choose to or not. You're the only one you have to answer to. But for me, the person I have to answer to, the bigger me, would not tolerate me not saying yes to awakening, to doing this work, to showing up, even though there are so many challenges. It doesn't mean that because you are in your purpose that it's all easy.
Yeah.
You know, I think that that's a distortion in my lineages of what I've learned over the years. Is I'm actually unraveling that story of, well, if I'm following my heart and if I'm this beautiful, good person, that only good things will happen to me. That's not true. I'm like really dissolving that little BS story and coming to this place of, if I'm in my truth, then of course you're going to have to hold your truth. And the universe or whatever will show up to challenge you because you're choosing to awaken. Awakening isn't easy. To watch a caterpillar come out of a cocoon and become a butterfly.
Ooh,
It
good
sounds pretty painful.
human
Right?
birth too.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm noticing in the camera, if when you're back, we've got better light on your face. So maybe we just go there just a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
Got a little better. I can, let me get this light one sec.
All right.
How's that?
That's much better. Okay. All right. So, you know, you speak about shamanism. It's becoming more of a collective term, interestingly enough, all of a sudden.
It is.
For a long time, it was kind of, in my perspective anyway, hidden away, and
Yeah.
becoming more acceptable. We're talking about the cycle of the moon today being a full moon. What would you say to somebody who's just learning about the lunar cycle, just learning about shamanism, just learning about some of these things, you know, about returning to Mother Earth, returning to what's already happening, and what happens in the illumination of a full moon?
Exactly. I love hearing that word illuminate, because as you can imagine, even if you were to just close your eyes and imagine the fullness of the moon in the darkness of wherever it is that you're, you know, standing outside and watching that moon, she's illuminating the ground. She's illuminating the flowers and the dew that might even be on the grass, right? She's illuminating you and you can imagine there's also a shadow in that because it's happening at nighttime. So it's illuminating the shadows, basically. And so the way that I experience the full moon, and what I love about shamanism is one of my teachers, Sandra Ingerman, will say, you know, if you experience an animal totem, you know, you can read it in the book and you can learn what that animal totem is, but it totally might be different for you. So all of our experiences are so different because we all speak sometimes a different language, or something has a specific impact on you that's totally not in a book. So I want to say that this is my experience, and then notice whatever your experiences are of the moon and watch those tides change in your body. For me, I can really feel the fullness of the moon as if it were pulling my own water, because it really is, right? Because we are water, as it's pulling my own water towards it. So it's almost calling me to come out and awaken. Where the new moon, for me, it's this dark place you're going in, and you're inside of yourself, and you're just, you know, finding the curiosity of, wow, what seeds have I planted in here? And what seeds do I want to plant inside of myself? And then as the full moon comes, it's the illumination of all of those seeds.
That's right.
And so you can also look at it, though, as sometimes we think we're planting certain seeds in our inner garden, and we might be like, ooh, look at these seeds, and then the full moon comes and it's a little shit storm. And we're like, oh, wait, so it's actually illuminating the truth of what we're really planting. Are we planting seeds of love, or are we planting seeds of fear? When you look at your body and you stand naked in the mirror, are there seeds of love that you're planting, or is there seeds of not enough, or disgust, or judgment? When you're looking at your fellow sister or brother, are you showing up in that love, or are there seeds of judgment and competition happening? When you're driving in your car and somebody needs to merge in front of you, are you the person that speeds up to not let that person in? Or are you the person that slows down and allows that person in? Because I notice in driving a lot where humanity is. So, looking at that culmination of the full moon can also highlight those seeds inside of us that we actually are planting. In a way, to me, it can be a little bit of a reality check. So it's not always an ease, right, per se. And that fullness of pulling your water as a woman with the moon cycle, if my moon cycle is on the full moon, it's actually incredibly painful, because I can feel it's almost like my belly is matching the moon, and I'm just like, oh, it's pulling so much. And so how to be in that right relationship with yourself and in relationship to the moon. I love what you're doing. It's really amazing.
Oh, thank you. We're having a really, really good time. Just a few years ago, I've always been aware of the moon on some level. It seems like in the last few years, I've become really accustomed, really impacted by it. We started doing ceremony here at the River House, where on new moon, we'd set intentions. And move through the month, we would notice that what would happen around the full moon was it would get really energetic, and we would notice our patterning, and some of the things that were in the way of us manifesting our intentions were the things that were illuminated on the full moon. And that's what you've been saying.
Yes, that's beautiful.
After the moon, we have an opportunity to lay down some things that no longer serve us.
Yes.
Step into the new perspective. So.
Yeah. Sometimes we need to go into that garden and rototill, and and in shamanism, what I'd like to also say is, we don't have to do all of this work alone. Like you have a collective, we're creating collectives so we can do the work together. And then there's also this amazing unseen realm of compassionate helpers that we can call on. And so when I'll do a guided journey, it's like, call on a master gardener that works with you, and help you to go in there and be like, hey, which seeds have I been planting? Is that I love weeds, so it's hard for me to say this, but is that a weed and it needs to be pulled? Or, how do I need to tend to this so that I can be in that true, authentic alignment? And there's something about, that I love about what you're doing, is it's connecting people to the cycles of the earth. This is the planet we're on.
Yeah.
We are floating in space with all these other planets around us, and we are, governed by this moon and influenced by the sun. It's not something to believe in. It exists. It's not like Santa Claus and we're not sure, or the Tooth Fairy. Yeah, it just is, and so I love this because it's a way to start to connect to your rhythm inside of yourself. And in my programs, I'll have the sisters create, and anybody can create this. I just am teaching to women right now because I'm doing so much around sexuality that, sometimes if you mix genders, it can get murky a little quickly. So I'm not there yet, but men and women can do this together, where you create a moon dial and you start to, you write out just like the simple phases of the moon, and then you start to look at, okay, where's the moon at? Okay, what's happening inside of me? What emotions are present? And then you do it every month for a few months. And then you might start to see that there are similarities in your own internal lunar cycle, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. And then that's also connecting you to what's around us, which is such a gift, because that's something that I feel like we're missing so much, is not only the connection with our true nature, our internal higher self, our soul, that's kind of getting missed a lot too. And then also with the world around us. And it doesn't have to be this, there doesn't have to be big rituals. It doesn't always have to be this extravagant thing. It can be something really simple.
Yeah, I think it starts with noticing.
Yes, always.
A little bit. One of the things that really grabbed me about what you said a moment ago, and kind of weaves into this, weaves a thread into the fabric of the moon. A vulnerability, we say yes to life. We say yes that we want to wake up. The truth is, Naomi, we require a lot of help. Each one of us requires a lot of help, and it's up to us to express the vulnerability.
Yes.
I've really bitten off a lot in my life, and I'm now seeing how fragile the whole thing is. I don't know how to keep it going anymore. Can you help me?
Yeah, we have, and that's vulnerable.
Yes.
That's vulnerability. And it's like when you were saying that, choosing to awaken is like, I just attributed it to marriage. My idea of what marriage is that you're continually choosing to be married, like you're choosing each other. and choosing to awaken, it's not just like a one-time choice. It's like every day at multiple times a day. And when you're being that big a-hole, just total jerk, you're choosing in that moment to own your stuff and to be vulnerable and like, oh my God, you're right. I was just a total whatever, thing you were. And that's all part of the awakening. It's so vulnerable to constantly choose it.
Yeah, and underneath all of this is shame.
Yes, I know.
Just from asking for help, it's the shame that something's wrong with it. That something.
I know.
That asking for help in itself is a bad thing.
It means that you're weak. It means that you're not enough. That you're not capable. And then underneath that is also then looking at how we project out when other people ask for help. Are we judging those people when they're asking for help? Are we like, oh, they should do it, or they, whatever that is? Because there are oftentimes the equal and opposite. So there are a lot of times the people who ask for help all the time, and then the people who never ask for help. And it's all, we need to build that rainbow bridge so that we can all, create and cultivate that balance between the two. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to need support.
Yeah.
And it's so vulnerable to ask for it because there is a possibility that no one shows up.
Yeah. And the truth is once you become vulnerable, the universe begins to work in your favor in ways you can't.
Yes.
Or you couldn't fathom before, So,
yeah.
So I had the great privilege of having you host an event at my place.
That was so amazing.
That was so amazing. I don't know. You had like 22 women there. You doing some fabulous women's priestess work or something. You want to say a little bit more, very specific about that? Kind of how people get in touch with you and
I want to do that every day. I was like, oh my God, I want to play priestess every day. Like if I could just play this game forever, that would be phenomenal. Yeah. So for the graduation for my apprenticeship program, which I'm always shifting the name to meet the energy that's present now. So right now it's weaving the wild and sacred feminine. And what we were doing, it was their graduation ceremony. So we did this beautiful ceremony with cacao, and I had prayed over the cacao and made this amazing elixir for weeks actually, and had put flower essences in it and crystal essences and prayed over it, and there were rose petals and all these different herbs in it. And then we were in your beautiful yurt, which was absolutely phenomenal. And we did this prayer where we were drinking the cacao, but I had all these river rocks that I had been using in my practice while I lived in Colorado for 7 years. And so we each took a river rock and we were whispering our prayers to how we want to connect with the spirit of water. And then after we were done sipping on our cacao, we went to the river and we offered the stones to the water, which was just so amazing for me because I had been working with these stones for so long, and now they got to return home. But while we were in that ceremony in the yurt, I read them. I pulled an animal card, the animal tarot deck, and I pulled the horse, and I was reading them this story. And at the end of the story in the animal medicine cards, it talks about the white stallion coming to give Dreamwalker a healing. And we go to the river, and then we go to the fire ceremony for that portion of the ceremony. And I asked one of the sisters to go to the river to gather water. And a white stallion, I don't know if I told you this, a white stallion came to the river to drink. And she was just like, what? Are you kidding? Like in ordinary reality, it shows up, this beautiful horse. And she was like, what are you doing here? That's amazing. So we had that blessing, and then we did this beautiful drum initiation for each of the sisters. And it was the intention was to seal in everything that they learned in the program. So now they were, it was inside of them. And then the fire portion was so beautiful with our Shiva, and then all of you men out there holding space on the outer edges was absolutely magical. And we were drumming, and all the sisters would go to the fire and had them offering their prayers to the fire, and anything that you didn't want to hold anymore, we were offering up, right? Because we can't hold it all. We can't hold the all our worries and all of our fears and all of our stuff. We can't always hold it. And so there's something about that sense of faith of offering it up to something greater than us. It doesn't have to be God or anything like that, but it's just saying, I trust that I can offer this up, and somebody else, something else is going to take care of it, and I don't have to hold it in my body.
And you're
So
talking about ceremony.
Yeah.
And I feel like even right now, somebody who's watching this may look at me or may look at you and say, those people are way over my head. There's no way, I don't know what they're talking about. Everybody in the world is familiar with prayer or a church, a synagogue or something. We understand that there is a larger sense of things. So if somebody maybe wanting to do a little bit of ceremony around the full moon to let go of some things that you're now starting to see about yourself, because the name of this course is called Give It Away. How are you going to give abundance, love, all these things away into your life? And what you're talking about is the ceremony of letting go. And talk a little bit about that, if you will.
Yes, beautiful. So the first thing that keeps coming in is there's this practice that I have my clients do often when we're wanting to connect with the moon, and it is placing a quart jar of water in the moonlight. So it doesn't have to be inside, it can be outside depending on where you live, so that the water doesn't freeze though. And then you start to drink that moon water infusion throughout the monthly cycle. So that feels like it would be a really beautiful way to connect to the spirit of water, and then to connect to the moon and calling that water into the body. That feels like it keeps coming in, so it wants to be shared. And so prayer has 4 parts to it. We have to have the understanding that there's something beyond this. If we don't have that, then we can't pray to something, right? So we have to have an understanding that there is something beyond this that we don't understand. That's all. It doesn't have to be some great, Santa Claus looking man in the sky who's like got it all figured out and is orchestrating it all just so. But I work in the earth-centered lineage, so it's knowing that there's a great mystery out there, and that there's this web of creation that somehow intertwines everything, and that everything has an impact on everything else. So if you can cultivate that internal felt sense, then you can come into prayer. And prayer is, you've got to intend it. So what is it that you want in your life? What is it that you need support in? And then you're offering it up, you're offering it out. And then there's got to be the trust that it's received. And then there has to be the opening in your cells that for it to come back to you and not necessarily look the way you think it should.
Right. And what you're talking about is really mastery over time to develop each one of these 4 elements to be more comprehensive sort of human being on this planet in oneness with all of it,
Yes, because we have to understand that we are all, when I was younger and I would listen to Bob Marley and it was like one love, one people, and I was like, but we're not one people. Like, they're them and I'm me, I just didn't get it. I'm really slow. It's really quite a funny little thing. But now I start to see everything has an influence on everything. It's just the way it is. Yeah. And so we're the only ones that judge it as good or bad. We're the only ones that say, oh, she's good and he's bad, and he's good and she's bad. So let's just imagine there isn't any of that good or bad, and it all just is, and everything is influenced by everything else that exists right now. Yeah. And so if we can come from that place, then we can start to cultivate, there's a greater sense in something. And then when we connect inside of ourselves, so I loved that you said the word noticing, because that's one of my favorite things, is to just, even if you were to do, like we were talking about the moon dial, if you were to just look at basic 4 phases of the moon, new moon, full moon, and the 2 half moons, right? So if you were to just go outside during those times and to notice what's happening inside of yourself. So do you mind if I lead us through a moment of practice?
Oh,
Would that be okay?
absolutely, okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna gather, let's see if my little tools work without getting the sound distorted.
All right, I'm gonna get my light turned on.
Okay. And so I'm just going to drum, so let me know if the sound gets a little distorted, and some of you might not be able to hear the drum, and that's okay as well. But as long as you're not driving or anywhere that it's unsafe, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just begin to deepen your breath. And with your eyes closed, you might just notice your heart beating. You might begin to notice the pains and aches in your body. And just know that in this noticing, all of you is welcome. It's okay to have pain. It's okay to be uncomfortable. And begin to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. I'm going to encourage you to make sighs or sounds on the exhale. It actually cultivates a vibration inside of your body that begins to shake the armoring that we, armor up, that we build in to manage being on Earth, in society. It begins to dissolve that sense of everything is separate. And begin to just breathe as if you could breathe into your bones. Allowing your body to sink deeper into the ground that you're sitting on. And notice the places that you might be contracting in your body. You might be squeezing your bum or squeezing your jaw. Notice if your eyes are soft or contracted. And there's nothing wrong with contraction, but this is the invitation to soften. This is the invitation to choose to awaken, to enlighten, to lighten up. So as if you could feel or imagine feeling softening of your skin, around your muscles, around your bones. And just if you're in your imagination, you can imagine the fullness of the moon in your mind's eye. And if you're sitting in a place where you can gently open your eyes to look at it, you can do so and begin to notice, even in your imagination, what does it feel like to realize that you're a human being living on this living organism of Mother Earth, floating in space with this beautiful moon illuminating, bringing light to the shadows. And then you can begin to call that moonlight in if it feels good to you. Call it in through the third eye, which is the space between the eyebrows. Call in this light, silvery, cool moonlight into your body like it's liquid, like it is nectar for your spirit. And call it in to bathe your cells and your organs and your bones and your muscles. Call it all the way to your pelvic floor, the bottoms of your feet. And begin to allow that beautiful silvery moonlight to expand beyond your skin into your energetic body. We are energy. We cannot deny that. So imagine there's this energy around you that is you, and invite this beautiful moonlight glow to illuminate you from the inside out. And from this place, you might breathe more deeply into your heart. And you might want to ask the moon for a healing, to show you a place in your life, in your body, in your ways of being that need healing. Or a place where you need to choose, if it's so in your alignment, to choose awakening. To gently, gracefully show you the truth of you. And if that feels silly, you can just allow yourself to bask in the glow of the moon. So take a couple breaths as you begin to notice what the moon is showing you, as she illuminates the places that need healing, that need love in your life, in your body, in your relationships. And taking a nice full breath and sighing out through the mouth, we're going to just imagine a little grounding towards the roots of your trees going down into the earth. Just feeling that nourishment, that connection to the Great Mother while connected to the moon. Allowing moon and earth to dance within you as you one more full breath, exhale through the mouth. I invite you to whisper the fullness of your name in this moment to yourself, to call yourself fully home. Gently reaching the arms overhead as if you were to pull in that beautiful illuminated light of the moon. One more time, through your center channel to your heart. you're ready, slowly and gently coming back. Mm-hmm. And so for some people that might be far out.
Hey, I feel better. It's the one thing that we're talking a lot about in this class. It's up to you, Naomi. It's up to me.
Yes.
It's up to us to change our vibration to feel good.
It is. We have to make the choice.
We have to make the choice. There are too many things out there that are drawing our attention that are going to take our energy. And we are looking for some simple practices to adopt as new human beings on this planet, ones with big hearts, open hearts, in purpose, in our gifts, on a mission. We are going to face challenges. We're going to be challenged by life in ways that are, we didn't see that coming, right?
Yep.
Dedicate ourselves to just feeling good is the very first thing sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. And how do we make choices for that? Because so often, you know, the meditation cushion, so to speak, metaphorically, is always over there. And it seems like a great idea, but then how do we get ourselves to get to that cushion? Because we're so afraid of being vulnerable, even just by ourselves. And you spoke earlier of shame, and oftentimes, like in a journey, which that was a journey or a guided meditation, we have all these thoughts that keep us from actually being present. And we think like, oh, it should look like this. It doesn't have to look any way. The work is working. Even if you just sit on your mat, if you just sit on your cushion, if you just take a couple breaths, the healing is happening. We're allowing it to happen.
And I feel like one of the answers is find a community, whatever it takes. In a coffee shop, look for a meditation group. Go find other people that are doing some of these things in your community and join forces. Make commitments, make agreements. I call them make-keep agreements. And one of my things for this year is I don't make any agreements I'm not going to keep. In other words, if I make an agreement that's out of my integrity, that doesn't inspire me, that's not something I want to do, I probably won't keep it. Well, then all of a sudden I'm out of integrity with myself. I'm out of integrity with my community. And so my determination this year, I am making make-keep agreements. Make that I will absolutely keep, and that builds power. That gives excitement. So in community, we can say, hey, can we get together on a full moon and have a little ceremony? Can we do that together? Can we, you know?
Look for the fire ceremonies. If you're far out there, if you're ready to step out of the comfort zone, finding those meditation groups, yoga is a great way to even just get comfortable coming inside to your own internal experience.
Yeah, it's what you do with these women in these women's circles and these, you know, your apprentice program, I guess you call it. You know, you band people together, they all commit together, and they hold one another accountable, and you're guiding them. You're not doing anything, because when you're in your gift as you are, you're merely in the space.
Exactly. I'm really just a space holder. Yeah. That's beautiful. It's amazing.
Thank you so much for offering your time and energy.
Thank you.
Your light. I mean, wow.
It's so nice to connect with you. I can't wait to see you when I come to Boulder this June.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here. And I'm excited to, you know, see where this purpose project goes. And, you know, when you get to this level, and I don't know what I mean by this level, but I can only speak from my experience, and I have to share my work. I have to share what I've been up to for the last 20 years. And it's not because of any other reason. The consciousness is drawing it out of me.
Exactly.
That's what it's doing. And one of the great things about the cycles of the moon is it teaches us patience. It's like we plant the seeds at the beginning of the new moon cycle, and they manifest somewhere down the line, and we go through a process. We plant seeds in the spring and we harvest in the fall. And the natural rhythms of life are for us when we work intelligently with them, right? Yeah.
It's not, we're so used to that instant gratification, you know, and it just doesn't work that way. There is that cultivating the patience, that opening to receive, that knowing that it landed. And that is sometimes the hardest part, if I do say so myself.
Well, the truth is we've planted all the seeds and are manifesting in whatever ways in our lives anyway. I mean, we're 100% responsible for our experience. We may not be.
that we are 100% responsible. And I think that that's typically what we want to avoid.
One last thing you'd like to leave with people that are right now halfway through a class of really learning to manifest using the moon cycles, and your website, please.
Beautiful. So the last thing that I would want to share with you all going through this experience with Mystery and all the other beautiful people who are sharing with you is that manifesting is a co-creation. Mm-hmm. And so remembering that you are absolutely a part of this great web, and that collectively, the more that you support each other, the more that your dreams are also being supported. And to just keep nourishing those seeds that you've planted, and to remember that sense of patience that you were saying.
Yes, yes, beautiful, Naomi. Thank you so much. And how can people find you?
So you can find me on mayamoonhealingarts.com or Naomi Love, and I have a little YouTube channel with some little videos here and there that will come into cultivation more. And I so look forward to connecting to anyone who has questions or wants extra support in any way.
Good. All right. Well, send me all your data and a picture to use. We'll put it up on the course.
Okay. Beautiful.
Little piece of this video out there, who knows? It's
amazing.
It's art making itself up right in front of our hearts.
Exactly. I love it. Thank you, Mystery. It's so good to see you. Mwah.
I love you.
Aloha.